all you literary legends and luminaries. I'm Julie and welcome to Booksmart. Today's book should make you laugh. It's Chris Kattan's Baby Don't Hurt Me, Stories and Scars from Saturday Night Live. This book has been out for about 6 years, so it's a little old right now. I picked it up and put it down several times in my used bookstore, but finally decided to read it. Even though I don't watch Saturday Night Live much anymore, in the early 90s and for about the next 15 years, I love Saturday Night Live. I haven't read too many Saturday Night Live memoirs, Amy Poehler's and Tina Fey's, but my favorite was, of course, Rachel Dratch's memoir. Debbie Downer is my all-time favorite Saturday Night Live character. But Chris Kattan had a lot of cool characters in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, and he was on the show when I was in college, and all my friends watched Saturday Night Live. At frat parties, they'd all bop their heads whenever What Is Love played. Plus, Chris Kattan has a special place in my heart because we named our first cat after one of his characters.
Here with me now are Carrie Strug and her brother Kippy.
I was intrigued by his book because he kind of just disappeared from the show, and then later we found out he had been injured. So let me start by saying I like the beginning of the book much more than the latter half of the book. Kattan goes back and forth in time with his chapters. At first, it's pretty consistent with a Saturday Night Live chapter, and then a flashback to before Saturday Night Live, dealing with his childhood or his time as a groundling. I found this organizational strategy effective in the beginning. It actually felt like a memoir, like a real theme-based memoir, and you know how I love those. Everything focused around or led up to his time on Saturday Night Live. He's funny, which you would expect him to be because he's a comedian after all, but it's just the right amount of funny. It's natural, and I just wanted to keep reading. I learned a bunch of fascinating info. Kattan was in a relationship with Jennifer Coolidge, the one who was on the first 2 seasons of The White Lotus and then died. That Will Ferrell and Kattan used to be besties, that the What Is Love guys were created after they watched a guy in a bar behave in a similar fashion. So let me read what Kattan wrote about that, because it's actually a very interesting observation. So, of course, the chapter is called What Is Love? One night after a groundling class, Will and I went to grab a beer at a local place that had a meager dance floor. We noticed a middle-aged gentleman standing up against the bar wearing a matchless blazer, a skin-tight t-shirt, and a glossy gold chain. The guy was moving his head and upper body to the beat of the music while using his fingers to pantomime, "Do you want to dance? You do? You don't? You do? You don't?" to any woman who ventured into his vicinity. Alas, no matter how hard he tried, not one interested glance came his way. The man got nothing. Dismally dejected, he turned back around to face the bar and ordered another drink. Then, as Will and I watched, he once again turned to face the dance floor, and with a fresh cocktail in hand, and apparently excited by his new lease on life, he started again, moving to the music, his finger rhythmically miming yet another round of "you, me," dance invitations without a single response. He repeated this ritual over and over throughout the evening, seemingly expecting a different result each time, which, by the way, I believe is a definition of insanity. But the guy's tenacity was endearing. He had an underdog quality that made us root for him, and that quality was what inspired Will and me to write a sketch about him for the Groundlings. I just love hearing those kinds of origin stories, how inspiration is everywhere. You just have to be observant and creative, and then you've created something that will live on forever. I wonder if that guy ever watched Saturday Night Live and saw himself in that sketch. I also had no idea that his Weekend Update segment as Kippy was so popular either. Kattan spends a lot of time on Mr. Peepers and Mango, the one with the song Missing by Everything But the Girl. What I especially enjoyed was his connection to music, how music can evoke a certain scene or character, and if you replace the music, it just all falls flat. You see that in so many of his sketches and characters, how the song plays such an integral part. I can't stand it when shows change the music due to copyright issues. I can't watch any 21 Jump Street episodes anymore because it's all this obnoxious background music. 21 Jump Street original airings played popular music in the 80s, and now it's just all gone. The music should be part of the show no matter what medium it's in. Even Paula Cole's I Don't Want to Wait was changed on the DVDs because the copyright didn't apply to the DVDs and they wanted more money for it. It drives me crazy. So I really felt connected to Kattan as he wrote about how music influenced him and how some of his sketches can't be found on streaming services or even anywhere else online because of the copyright issues. Hearing that makes me miss the days of VCRs. Then about halfway through the book, Kattan loses his theme and his organization is all over the place. He's injured during a scene on Saturday Night Live. He tries to hide it, but the pain is too great. He finds out later that he actually broke a bone in his neck. He develops a drug problem, and well, we don't get too much information about any of it. He spends a whole chapter about a get-together with Tom Cruise and name drops constantly, even spreading catty gossip about people. He has a falling out with Will Ferrell that doesn't quite add up. Lorne Michaels may or may not have told Kattan to sleep with a producer for the movie Night at the Roxbury. It's all a bit disjointed. What he chooses to develop and what he doesn't develop is a bit baffling at times. With all the deaths of former SNL cast members, Kattan doesn't really acknowledge much of them, yet name drops so many other random people. I will say I giggled after Kattan befriended Cameron Diaz, and she's dated Jared Leto at the time, and Kattan dines with them one evening. How I adore Jordan Catalano in my so-called life, yet no one has many nice things to say about Jared Leto as a person with his method acting and all. I was hoping for more of the behind the scenes of SNL, which there are some tidbits in there. Lorne Michaels is somewhat of an enigma. Some books portray him as a not so nice guy, while others portray him as a genius. Kattan's book gives you a little bit of both. I had no idea about the whole Pat movie with Julia Sweeney and how Lorne wasn't a part of that. It would seem as though very rich and powerful men have quite the petty streaks in them. He shows us the chaos of the Saturday Night Live meetings, which many a cast member has captured. I don't know how they all survive it. The favoritism, the stress, the late nights. Obviously, I would never have what it takes. So while I preferred the beginning of the book over the ending, if you are a Saturday Night Live fan, you must read Baby Don't Hurt Me. Each book about Saturday Night Live gives you one more perspective. And let's face it, in our world right now, any chance you can find that will give you a laugh, you better take it. Maybe I should read Jim Brewer's memoir next, because who didn't love Goat Boy? Thanks for watching. As always, my goal at Booksmart is to get a little bit smarter one book at a time.